Fugondro le gogo le cook le thegos yusalpa. Gonfra rogokon kuga fugon fumo. Le gogo rel con el mera gef kun pikakpa. Fugon zege rel moltose. Zural gef rogon. Welcome to Earthring.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Earthren's development log series, and today we're going to be taking a look at the lighting, decorations, and optimizations made over the last few weeks. Since last week, I started working on making a reactable system which will allow me to make varied and interesting different little decoration pieces that you can see throughout the levels. Right now, the main centerpiece that I have added in is the grass pieces, which I can randomly variate upon using a script within the game itself. Now this doesn't actually affect load time or anything for the actual game in terms of randomizing each of the things, so no worries there. And on top of that, after working on that for a while, I got some feedback on the look and feel of the game through forums and such that got sent out, and based off what I got some critical feedback on, I decided to spend some time on actually updating the lighting and the visuals of the game just a bit, to kind of help give that more polished look and feel that I am going for by the time I actually put this out for Kickstarter. Now, the first thing as I did, I actually experimented with 2D lighting systems in Unity, which are fairly new, and it's actually been going pretty successfully, I'd say, and I don't think I'm going back on this. Now, when I did start adding lighting into the game, I initially experienced some issues with latency and lag, and just dropping frame rates in general, and this is actually because I realized afterwards that the way I had my sorting system set up was very, inefficient. I did not fully understand it at the time how that worked. I did not realize the full details of it, so I had to go through and actually redo my sorting system for all of the different visuals that you see in the game, which took a while for me to go through because I had to go through and manually reset a lot of variables and such, which is no issue, and it's a very small version of the full game right now, so this is okay to have to go through every once in a while. Now beyond that, I was thinking of ways to actually try to make the game look even better. I wanted to experiment with shaders, and one thing that I saw in particular that really intrigued me was depth of field. But after looking around for a while, I noticed that the depth of field effect for shaders actually only really works with 3D objects due to how transparency and such works with sprites, making them harder to detect how close they are to the camera and such. So essentially, Unity just blurs everything as far as I was able to make it. So to kind of simulate a depth of field effect, I decided to go through and actually apply a blur to different sprites that are only used in the foreground and background of scenes to help kind of make the scene feel a little bit more real, and almost like you're actually looking at a storybook in a sense of where it really does feel like it's real life. Because I feel the way that the Gaijin blur combined with the actual lighting of the scene, it almost makes it feel just a bit more real and alive, which both kind of adds to the mythical feel in my eyes and the sort of storybook and hand-drawn feel that I'm also going for. And so yeah, that was very interesting for me. And speaking further of making the game look better, another thing I did is I started experimenting with this sprite shape systems in Unity, which I did not know existed. And then finding out about them, I was very happy to see because they actually make my job very much easier in terms of making different levels and designs and such. As a tile system I made initially was actually a little bit harder for me to work with, so finding this new tool is going to be very helpful for making both the levels easier to make and making them feel more organic through having, different angles and such that the player can run along and not just straight squares, which I feel will help make the game feel a lot more fun to play, even if it is just a small detail. And one of the last things I did is I actually was looking for a way to kind of make it feel like a daytime, potentially, and kind of add more of that feel of it being like a real-life scenario, and it's just sort of like you're peeking in on it. And so I looked for different sources of lighting. And one thing I found that really intrigued me was this 2D lighting system on Unity, where it almost affects and almost simulates light rays. I'll show that on screen here. which I'll have to remember to add in post, but it's a very useful system, and I think I'm going to be using this. As you can see in the above ground area, there's just very subtle little things that you can notice as the player runs around, almost adding a bit of shimmer and shine to it. I can also animate this to cause almost like a daytime and nighttime effect, which hopefully you will be seeing in the future, to go alongside the changing color of the background, which will change gradually to kind of simulate day and nighttime, which I feel not enough platformers necessarily do, although I can understand it could be a challenge. Anywho, that is it for this week's development log. Please stay in here and alongside the ride with me. Like if you enjoyed, dislike if you hated it, and either way, please leave a comment letting me know how I can improve. Thank you so much for your time, and stay well.